This is 5 terrifying tales about Slenderman. Hey guys, welcome to 5 terrifying tales about a creepypasta. And today we're talking about one of the most well-known creepypastas of all time, Slenderman. If you're new here, I do post quite a few videos relating to creepypastas and scary stories. So if you like that sort of thing, stay tuned for more content. And now without further ado, let's get into it. Slenderman was created by Eric Knudsen in June of 2009. He posted an image onto a Something Awful forum in the Photoshop battles section. It was a photo of 2 children standing next to each other in front of a slide at a playground. But the creepily thin man looming over them in the background quickly became the center of attention. The story goes that he initially created Slenderman as a way to add a disturbing twist to existing creepy photos. He didn't intend to make an entirely new character out of it, but people loved it and took it upon themselves to expand on the character's backstory and motivations. This, of course, led to many terrifying tales of Slenderman. The first story is titled The Introduction. A user named Judge Dredd writes, "The day my sister went missing, I was playing video games and my parents were watching TV. My sister had been acting strange for some time, talking to herself and seeming very withdrawn. My parents assumed she was just going through another one of her phases, so they didn't think much of it when she went to bed earlier than usual. When she didn't come downstairs for breakfast, they went to check on her. Her door was locked, which was odd because she always left her door open. They knocked, but there was no reply. Concerned, they started to call her name. After a bit, my dad kicked down the door and found her room empty. She was gone. All of her things were still there, including her phone and headphones. The only thing missing was her diary. She hadn't even packed anything. We looked everywhere for her, but she was nowhere to be found. The police didn't seem too concerned. I guess missing persons are a dime a dozen. I haven't seen or heard from my sister in over a year now, but every time I close my eyes, I see her face, pale and gaunt, eyes black and empty. I hear her voice whispering my name, and then he appears, tall, pale and thin, always watching." Now for tale number 2, Slenderman at my school. Mr. Creepy writes, "I was walking home from school with my best friend when we saw him. At first, I thought it was just a random guy taking a shortcut through the school property. You know, the kind of guy who likes to look at the girls' school. But something was off about him. As we got closer, I could see that he wasn't looking at any of the girls. His gaze was fixed on something in the distance, and it seemed like he'd been there for a long time. I couldn't help but stare back. There was something about his eyes that drew me in, and I felt like I was being pulled toward him. But then I realized what was really happening. He wasn't looking at the school. He was looking at us. And the longer we stared at each other, the more I felt myself being drained of all my energy. Finally, I looked away and tried to focus on my friend, but the damage was done. I felt weak and exhausted, and I knew I had to get home before my parents noticed I was missing. But as we walked away, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. And when I turned back to look, I saw him standing there motionless, staring at me with those soulless eyes. I ran home as fast as I could, and I haven't been back to that school since. But sometimes at night, when I'm trying to sleep, I can still hear his footsteps behind me, getting closer and closer until I wake up in a cold sweat." These stories are absolutely terrifying, and there are so many more where that came from. If you like what you've seen so far, please consider subscribing. Moving on to tale number 3, Never Go Alone. Night Terror writes, "You should never go alone. That's what my grandmother always told me whenever I went into the woods behind our house. But I never listened, and one day I paid the price. I was 14 years old and bored out of my mind. So I decided to go into the woods to explore. I had no idea what I was looking for. I just needed some excitement. But I soon found out that the woods behind our house were no place for a lone wanderer. As I walked deeper and deeper into the trees, I felt a growing sense of dread. The sun was setting and the shadows were growing longer and darker. And then I heard it, a low, guttural growl that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. I tried to run, but it was too late. He was already there. I turned around and saw him standing behind me, his eyes glowing red in the darkness, his teeth bared in a snarl. I screamed and ran as fast as I could, but he was faster. I could hear his heavy footsteps pounding the ground behind me, getting closer and closer. I stumbled and fell, but I didn't have time to get back up. He was on top of me in an instant, his hot, fetid breath on my neck, his claws digging into my arms. And then everything went black. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed these 5 terrifying tales about Slenderman. If you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more content. Until next time, remember, don't go into the woods alone.